Hello guys and gals, and welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be showing you my Magic and Necromancer build for the Harrowstorm patch. And I do want to say one thing right now before you might get invested into making a Magicka Necromancer for PvP. I do want to state that the Magicka Necromancer lacks in a lot of departments due to the clunkiness of stocking blast bones. And mainly, I do believe the clunkiness of stocking blast bones has to come from the lag and the frame rate as well, because you're not able to follow up when it does land. Bear in mind I said when it does land, because sometimes it just stays completely still and doesn't do anything. It doesn't target after the enemy, doesn't go after them. So I do want to leave that reminder before you might want to reconsider working on another build or something until the Magic Necromancer is a bit more viable in PvP. Because unlike the Stamina Necromancer, the Magic Necromancer, like I said, it lacks in some departments. So anyways, for starters, we're going to be starting with our armor. For starters, we're using Necropotence, 5 pieces of Necropotence. You could change the trait to Infused or Nirnhoned. Either of those two work just fine. I am using a weapon damage enchant. You can run whatever enchant you want, but this is what I'm using for now. It works fine for me. And also, gold out your weapons when you can. I've been very lazy and haven't done that. But gold out your weapons when you can. We're using a Necropotence Restoration Staff. You can get one for free if you do one of the quests in Rivenspire, so you don't have to worry about buying one. Even though I think it would be cheap due to the fact that they hand this out for free, basically, when you do the quest. This gives us max Magicka stats. Necropotence gives us max Magicka stats, and when we have a pet active, it also gives us more max Magicka. And the reason why we're using Resto Staff, I've seen people use Sword and Board on the back bar. I'm not a huge fan of that, due to the fact that Resto Staff is just too good to pass up on. Due to the Mutagen, I believe it's called Mutagen ability that we're running on our back bar, and on top of that, the Cycle of Life passive, which gives us a huge chunk of Magicka when we perform a heavy attack with the Resto Staff. The monster set we're using is Slime Crawl. I do want to point out, some people who have probably seen other Magic and Necromancer builds, you're probably questioning what is this, because other people are running the Pirate Skeleton with Mighty Chiron combo. If you want to run that, completely up to you, totally optional. That's okay. I totally understand if you want to run that, and I totally respect that. It's just like I said, Magic and Necromancer lacks in damage due to Stalking Blast Bones being so clunky and buggy the way it works. So this really helps with that loss of damage. So when Stalking Blast Bones does land, it will hurt quite a lot. So, and also the spell crit from this and the Mighty Berserk is awesome. Really, really stupid to pass up on this. But again, Pirate Skeleton with Mighty Chiron combo, completely okay. Next, we're using Brightsword's Boast, which gives us max Magicka stats and Magicka recovery. And it also gives us a little bit more max Magicka recovery on the 5th piece. And the food that we're using, which I know would be the question if I didn't mention it, is Spring-Loaded Infusion. You can get this in Clockwork City from one of the chef quests. I forgot what it's called. But yeah, that's what we're running. And we're using the Mage on this zone. So now we're going to be moving on to abilities. For starters, we're using Remote Totem. However, I forgot what the other totem's called, the other morph totem. That one works completely fine. You can run that one as well. Especially if you're running with a friend in a group in PvP, that works very, very fine as well. Also, as you level up, I haven't leveled this up completely. It takes ages to level this up for some reason. I went to try to level this up in Craglorn at Spellscore, popped an XP pot, and it just wasn't leveling up fast enough. But this is a totally okay morph to run. The other morph is also very good. But what the morph does is it allows us to relocate it somewhere else, basically. So you can also do it like this, and it lets us, do it from a distance, rather than the other totem it'll only be placed wherever you're standing. However, both morphs I think are completely fine. I played around with both morphs. I like both. But Totem is just a must-have. Next, we're using Skeletal Arcanist. This guy will just do basically light attacks for 16 seconds, and when he dies, he will create a corpse, which we benefit from because corpse gives us health, and it gives us ultimate regeneration. And yep, nothing much to say about this. He's very, very cheap to cast out. And yeah, this is the ability looks like for those who are curious. Necrotic Potency. Again, like I said, this heals us whenever we consume a corpse, and it gives us 6% ultimate charge to our ulti. And as well, while we have slotted, our damage taken is reduced by 3%, which is huge and very, very necessary. Next, we have Stalking Blastbones, which I said before, this is very, very clunky in PvP, and I think the lag has the most to do with it. Some of the issues you have to do with the skeleton itself, the ability itself, due to it having a cast time, which I think they should remove that cast time. It says instant, but let me show you, it's not instant. You have to basically do that, and you know, you could animation cancel that. Yeah, you can definitely animation cancel that, but in PvP, in Cyrodiil specifically, when it's like super laggy in there and the frame rate's absolutely horrific in Cyrodiil, you don't animation canceling just won't go through sometimes because of the lag and frame rate issues. And when both of those are combined, it just won't do anything at all. But yeah, the other thing is, like, again, with the lag, sometimes he'll just stay still and won't target after anything. He'll just stay there and not move, which is very, very irritating. And I really think this ability should be buffed, reworked, and hopefully with the update on March 10th, which is harrowstorm, we see a change to the lag, and this will become much more viable. But anyways, it does flame damage, 12k flame damage. This will go up as our max magicka goes up, which it does when we have a pet out. When we have a pet out, max magicka goes up to 46. I don't know why it was at. I don't know why it was so low. But it goes up to 46, and when that, it will increase the damage we do with our Stalking Blastbones. Also, for every second this skeleton spends chasing its target, the explosion is increased by 10%, and the max of that is 50%. So this will hit hard when it does hit, and if it's been running for a while, it's gonna hit even harder. And it also creates a corpse, so we use Necrotic Potency to gain back ultimate or heals from that. Which again, Necrotic Potency, we're not really using that for the heals, we're using that mainly for the ultimate. And then next is our spammable, which is Ricochet Skull. This does 7k flame damage, that goes up with the max magicka when it goes up. And every third cast of this deals 20% increased damage, and will bounce up to 2 times and hit other enemies. So it will ricochet around enemies, and it does 20% more damage every time you cast this a third time. So let me show you what it means. You're gonna have to look at our little buffs at the bottom of the bar, right above the health. Just look at that as I'm doing that. So we just cast it once, and then we have one little skull there. Cast it twice, and when we cast it a third time, you're gonna see here in first person, it will do like another skull that does extra damage than the other two. I really, really like this ability, and I think it's very necessary to run this due to the 20% increase in damage, because again, necromancer lacks in damage, and it could you could also replace this with the what's it called, it's either Destructive Touch or Force Shock, one of the morphs. You can replace it with one of that. Either of those two work. I'm just liking Ricochet Skull. I'm happy with it. I'm not too happy with the fact that it is very slow. I think this is something that shouldn't have, like, you know, very slow travel time. I would honestly be okay with this getting its damage removed, its damage increased every third cast, if they made it instant, like travel to the enemy quickly. I would like that a lot. And our ultimate is Glacial Colossus, possibly the most powerful ultimate in the game. It hits extremely hard, and after the third stun, it will stun everybody who got stuck in it. And it also puts major vulnerability on enemies, and also this is weird. This ultimate grants immunity to its own debuff, which I find hilarious. But yeah, and you gain this ultimate very, very quickly. I guarantee it, due to, again, necrotic potency. Next on our back bar is Hexproof. This will remove 4 negative effects that we may have on us, and it will reduce the cost of our abilities by 3%. And let me tell you, you need to run Hexproof. It is an absolute lifesaver, because when you're, like, for example, something like a Magplar who applies so many dots on you, or a Mag DK that puts like 3 dots on you, and a sorcerer as well who you can who bursts you down. You can potentially like remove some of that burst damage that a sorcerer will apply to you, like Haunting Curse, for example, I believe it's called. You can just remove that off, and it's just such a cheap cost as well for health. This is stupid cheap, and I really think this ability is like the carry on the survivability of the necromancer. Next is Summoner's Armor. This gives us physical and spell resistance, and while it's active, it will reduce the cost of Stalking Blast Bones, Skeletal Mage, and Spirit Mender. So it will reduce the cost of these abilities, which are already stupid cheap. These basically cost nothing. Stalking Blast Bones and Skeletal Arcanist and Spirit Mender, and Spirit Guardian in this case. It will it will cost way less. And also, after the effect finishes, which is only 20 seconds, the duration is 20 seconds, it will create a corpse, so that's just another thing for necrotic potency to give us ultimate off of. Next is Resistant Flesh. This is our main heal. For 4 seconds, it will also reduce the healing we receive after we use this. However, it's not that big a deal. It's only 4 seconds. And on top of that, I believe it's called... Okay, here we go. Curative Curse. When you have a negative effect on you, your healing done is increased by 8%. So, in reality, it isn't really 15% due to that passive. And also, it grants us a little bit more spell and physical resistance. Next is Radiating Regeneration. I'm not sure if I was supposed to run Mutagen here. I can't remember if I was like... I remember I had a debate with myself if it was Mutagen or Radiating Regeneration. I can't remember too well. But... yeah, this ability is our heal over time. And it also heals allies as well, and it will heal a total 15k over 10 seconds. So this is our main heal over time. Spirit Guardian. Now, Spirit Guardian, it heals you, but we're not using it for the heals. We're using it for the to negate 10% damage. So basically, this is giving us what's that set called? Buffer of the Swift, the armor set from Cyrodiil that you buy from the vendor. You're basically getting that here for free when you have this guy out. And again, it costs stupid cheap to get him out, and he'll heal you as well, but again, we're not using him for the heals. However, the heals does significantly help, and he lasts 16 seconds, and when he dies, he creates a corpse. Next, we got Animate Blast Bones. This, I don't know what to run here. I don't know what I could run. I guess you could run the Restoration Staff Ultimate. I feel like that would be very, very good to run back here, but to be honest, I just used this because why not? And I feel like it's been very useful in Cyrodiil when we're stuck at a choke. Some of our guys ran in, died to oil. Give them a second chance, bring them back up, and I've used this a lot for that, and it has helped. It has helped a lot at stalemates, which is good. Next, also, before I finish off skills, I do want to mention we are a BRETON. You're going to want to run BRETON for sure. High Elf is okay. Dark Elf is okay, but I feel like BRETON's just way better for this. Due to the passives. We're running. Basically, this gives us armor of the seducer. It's built into our passives, and we get a little bit of increase, mag recovery and spell resistance, and 2k max magicka, which is very good. So now we're gonna jump over to champion points. We're gonna start at the tower. 66 into Warlord, 19 into Cyberder, 64 into Arcanist, 56 into Tenacity, 28 into Shadow Ward, 37 into Tumbling, 37 in Blessed, 44 in Elfborn, 49 in Elemental Expert, and 40 into Spell Erosion. Shattering Blows, 27, 73 Mastered Arms. You could put a little bit more into Shattering Blows, like take out from Mastered Arms and put them into Shattering Blows. That's totally okay. Because Sorcerer's Shield stacking can be annoying. 39 into Resistance, 12 into Spell Shield, and 66 into Ironclad, 20 in Light Armor Focus, 43 into Hardy, 43 into Elemental Defender, and 28 into Thick Skin, 19 into Quick Recovery. And yeah, that pretty much sums it up. That's the build. I'll put in some clips towards the end, but anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please click like if you want to see more, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.